Hi all, so I just want to introduce you to the Coire temple and classroom. It's still a work in progress, but I call it the temple because that is what it is now. The energy has been set in it. So the first thing I do in here is light the welcome flame so that when the students arrive on their training days, they arrive in to the welcome flame. So here we have our central altar where we open our circle, where we offer blessings, invoke deity, and call in the energies of the directions. So I will now light the flame on this central altar here. A little bit of view brought from the last gathering at the Kilkenny Druid Grove, of which I'm a member. And here, this was actually a gift from Courtney Davis up at Tara. So this is the Cailleach, and this will be, you know, the last little while of her having center stage here on the altar as we move out of the Samhain period and come closer to the winter solstice. So I will be putting an image representing the return of the light and the light coming back in to Bruanshee, Newgrange at Brunabonia. So when we gather here on our training days, we gather in around the altar. And so this door here, the entrance, faces east. So we're coming in from the east. I have a little representation of an eagle, Uller, the eagle, up over the door, and some sort of yellow colouring to represent the sunlight coming in from the east. So here I have my crow wings because I have personal devotion and dedication to the Morrigan, the shape-shifting crow and raven goddess of death and battle and challenges. So I'm lighting now a candle here in the east. So the east, on Erher, the east. And the qualities we will associate with the east are air, the winds, the birds. So sprid on air, spirit of the air. Sprid na guithe, spirit of the winds. Sprid na hain, spirit of the birds. And around the altar I have very much symbolic representations of the four great treasures of the Tuatha Dé Danann brought from the four magical cities and carried with them when they arrived into the land of Ireland. So we have this little symbolic sword representation here, which represents the clave Sulish, so sword, cleave or clive, more properly cleave with the I father in Irish, but you'll see it referred to as a clive Sulish, sword of light, Nuad the sword. So I am coming now to the south, to the place of fire, and lighting the candle here. So Deshkert in the south, on Deshkert, the south. And so this is Áit place of fire, Áit Tulish, of light. An Tinne is an Tulish, the light, fire and light. And here, this may not look much like a spear to you, but this represents Garlu, or Lu's spear to me, because this particular wand of wood has been with me for a very, very, very long time, from the very first time I ever visited Ishnok. So it is taken from that place that I associate with the Bealtaine of fire, and also it was used to stir the cooking pot over a fire, so it carries that energy with it. So this is a symbolic representation of Lu's spear. And here we come to the west. And I will light this candle in its little blue holder in the west. So the west on Earher, the west. And so this is the place of water, on Ishke, water. And associated with water, we have Nefaragi, the seas, or on Origa, the sea, on Vur, the great sea. So you see two different words there, Fariga for sea and Vur. We have Naluka, the lakes, Nahawan, the rivers, Natuber Vanaha, the blessed or sacred wells, the holy wells. So all of those things of water are associated there. And of course we associate Manannán Mac Lir, the god of the sea, and the Bradán Fasa, the salmon of knowledge. And representing again symbolically the four treasures, this goblet here is a symbolic representation of the cauldron of the Dagda. And I also keep a swan feather here, a gift from the lovely Tevens in Dramani Spirit, which was gifted after working there at the Healing Bridges Festival. So I use that with the water, usually water taken from a holy well, at the moment with some Bridget's well water from Kildare that was brought by one of the students to offer a blessing and a cleansing for each student before we begin our work. And then coming around here to the north, and this green candle holder here. I like this candle in the north. Tushkert, the north, which is the place associated with earth, on Talun, earth, with all those things of the earth, the natural world, Nefarisha, the forests, Nakreen, the trees, Nahanvaha, the animals, and for me, the ancestors, Nishanori or Nishinshir. So it depends whether it's like the people of older time, like the elders or the ancestors. So either of those words can be used, Nishanori or Nishinshir. And the representation of the treasure of this area for me is this stone, this lovely kind of spiral marked found stone, which is a symbolic representation of the Leah foil. So now on the kind of outer edges of the classroom, I always light a candle here just at the door in the east to represent the light of the sun rising in the east, and then make my way around here on the southern side of the classroom space to this little fire altar here with all the red colors. Light a candle here, and then connected with the energy of fire and of the south, we have this image of a stag, Fia Firin, stag. And moving up towards the west wall of the temple here, so I have these purpley and blue colours representing water. And we light our candle here, sun ear here in the west, and just symbols here, a little boat made of shells, a little pair of crystal swans, and the silver branch. So this is a whole video on its own, and you may have seen the video where I retell the story of Cormac Mac-Art. But this is the silver branch brought to Cormac by Manannán Mac Lir, and it gathers peace and gathers us together. And of course here is where we sit and do the kind of work, the business end of it, you know, taking notes or classroomy work. And past the comfy sofa, and down here now to the north again on Tushkert on the northern wall. So at the moment here I'm lighting a red candle which I associate with the Morrigan. So in this dark of the year, the three goddesses that we've been mostly working with have been the Cailleach, represented on the central altar, Maureen, Great Queen or Phantom Queen, the Morrigan. And this image here, which I really, really love, it's a bit small in its frame, that was created by Jane Dagger, who was a former teacher of mine and has now sadly passed away. So I like having this in this central place at this time of the year to remember her. She had not encountered the Morrigan until she was working with me and journeying for me, and within my inner landscape she encountered the Morrigan and created this out of what she saw there. So it's very, very meaningful to me. So bits and pieces collected along the way, a little dish from the Goddess and Green Man shop in Glastonbury with these three faces representing different phases of the moon. And this was also a gift. The mother carrying the life within her womb. So this is very much relevant to the place of earth for me. Tarulacht, fertility, fruitfulness. And at this time of year, that's what we're focusing on. What are we germinating? What are we growing? What's developing in the darkness? More Cailleach here. We have our Bridget over there, although she's very fire and water, but we have her as represented there on our earth table in the north. And this picture here really makes me think of just the generic crone image, but also Morrigan with the crow and the Cailleach there with the hair and the old woman. I don't know, and also we have a fox here. I don't know who, and you may or may not make out the black cat. Beautiful black cat there. So it's kind of an archetypal witch picture, really. I don't know who the artist is. That was a gift from a student many years ago. So if anyone does recognize that image and knows the artist, I would love to credit them with that. So that's our earth. We had set up this basically to offer prayers for those in Ukraine and those suffering in Russia as well, because young men are getting sent out to fight and to die. And this was where we did a special little ritual and prayer of support for the women in Iran, and sort of standing in defense with this red circle connecting us all as women. So that's really it here in the temple. So just give you a little idea of how we work and the space that we work in. So it's all about connecting with the mythology, connecting with the ancient deities of our ancestors, working through the cycle of the year, celebrating the changes of the seasons, and sort of honoring within ourselves, moving through energetic changes, kind of harmonizing with those changes in the seasons. And a lot of our work is about sovereignty, because the priestess training specifically is women only. That feels like the right way for me to do this particular aspect of the work. But all the other workshops, mythological workshops, Irish language workshops, everything else is open to everyone, and you're all very welcome. So before I leave the temple now, I would like to offer a little blessing to you all. Banachtaí Arv Galéir, blessings upon you all. Gomech Suvna Saguiv. May peacefulness be with you, calm, gentleness. Go méag sláinte a goibh. May you have health. Go méag galore a goibh. An méid is gá. May you have enough. What you need. Very often we want a lot more than we need. But if we have what we need, if we have enough, that is all really that we can ask for. It's not all we can ask for, but it's all we need. And if everyone had enough, that would be a perfect world. Go méag síocháin a goibh. May peace be with you. Go méag sonas a goibh. May joy be with you. Slán agus spannachtaí. Farewell and blessings. Le grá, with love.